The next question always becomes, how do people shop for art? How can we optimize our site to make sure that we are providing the artwork in the way that people want to shop for it? Here's our website checklist. We're going to have to add artwork, and I've got a note that says categorizing artwork can be difficult. We're going to get to that soon. Consider the action that you want people to take. What do you want people to do on your site? Edit your selection. Make sure you're only showing people your latest and greatest work, and create a path to purchase. So when we consider how people shop for art, clients want to know which pieces are available for them to buy. So we do that by making sections called latest work or available work. As it turns out, no one shops by year. I learned this working in the galleries. Older work can be judged negatively as passed over by people. So if you have a section on your website that says 2022 or 2021, rest assured that people aren't going to be digging in there to find old pieces. They're just going to pass it over. Also, shopping by medium is not as common as we think. A client might know your work, but they don't usually get caught up in figuring out whether they want that work to be on canvas or panel or whatever other substrates you use. They want to see your work, and they're usually comfortable with purchasing it on whatever substrate that you've chosen for that particular work. Another thing that artists often do is separate oil and acrylic, if you happen to do both. Clients don't tend to care, in my experience, whether it is an oil painting or an acrylic painting. The odd person does, but it's not enough to justify separating into two sections of oil and acrylic. We want to really consider our user experience on our website. So this means having a very clear navigation with as few categories as you can create. You want to have a visual appeal. Because you're an artist, this website should reflect your style and be an appropriate extension of your creativity. You'd like to have calls to action. Direct your desired action with buttons. We'll talk about those later. And you need to have a path to purchase. Is there a clear way for people to get from the site entry to purchase? Let's talk about categories. We want to avoid the temptation to separate your artwork by media. This is not actually how people shop for art, but instead they want to know what's available to them. So if we use categories that would help drive purchases like latest work, new work, available art, that's where people will be drawn to shop when they get to your website. So if you have a website already that has categories, I've written a list of how it usually starts here. We're categorizing by subject matter, i.e. canvas work, paper work, mixed media, or landscapes, abstraction, figurative. How we fix it is by categorizing it by availability or concept. So by availability means latest work, previous work, artwork in situ, or by the concept or series in that set of work. For many artists that do multiple styles or genres in their work, like landscapes and abstraction and figurative work, I'd say also try putting them together. Try putting all of them together and see how they look. It could strengthen your presentation. Here's the big question. How many artists are you? So when I go to a website, I sometimes see all these different categories and everyone looks different. So to me, it looks like a website of many different artists. So of course there'll be exceptions, but in general, when I see these websites that have different subject matters listed, I think, how many artists are you? So perhaps just try putting your artwork together. It may look more cohesive than you think, and that will allow people to more easily shop because they just go to one area that says artwork and then they see everything you've done. In my past, I know that people did not come into the gallery saying, I'd like a figurative work or I'd like a floral. But when they see them, sometimes they fall in love. So if you are putting those categories on them and people are not going to them, they may avoid it. They might think, I'm only here for landscapes, and they may only look for landscapes. But if they see a landscape that has a figure in it or a floral that's suits their style, they may have never seen that unless you put it in that one section. Also, if you put your work together and it is not cohesive at all, there's a little bit of work to be done in your studio to make sure your work is cohesive and recognizable as an artist, rather than being a mishmash of different styles that do not resemble one artist's work.